Hello, and welcome to our virtual annual discipline meeting for the 2023-2024 year. For those who may not know me, I'm Dane Lamont, the School Partnership Specialist for Penn Highlands Dual Enrollment Program. During our fall 2023 semester, we resumed our in-person ACE discipline meetings at the Penn Highlands Richland campus. There, our college liaisons were able to hold live sessions with our ACE instructors to discuss specific topics related to the disciplines that you teach. While we understand that it is not always possible for teachers to attend the live meetings, these discussions were recorded so those absent can gain the benefit of the event. Please enjoy the recording of your annual discipline-specific activity, and we look forward to working with you in the fall and hope you can join us in the next ACE discipline meeting. Thank you.
Let's acknowledge his response to that prompt. This is not your reading.
See, I thought I had picked the right seat,
So sure enough,
and then you turned the board.
highlighted the entire thing.
I thought I had picked the right seat, and then you turned the board.
Oh, if you want. Trying to find something where we all be.
Right.
I'll be on that.
Safety policy, but in a situation like that, let's do PJ, do connect.
You failed that assignment.
That is, but not the course.
No, because he was about to go student teach, so they.
Oh.
Well, so my experience, I'm not sure, this just happened, but I teach seventh grade normally, besides my public speaking class. And so, seventh grade level is clear. And so I was reading this paper, we're piloting a new curriculum this year. So it was my first time teaching this piece of literature. I am reading these 5-paragraph essays they were supposed to write. And I'm like, this is not the seventh graders' work. There's no way. So normally, copy paste and I can find, I couldn't find anything. And we have a plagiarism checker in Canvas, but right now it's not working.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Long story short, it's not working. Something about they lost our licensing agreement or I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to the tech guys at our school and I said, I can't find where this is coming from. I know she didn't write it. I really don't think an older sibling did because they wouldn't have read this book. It's my first year teaching it, So their thought was AI, but the girl's been asked the last couple of days, so I haven't been able to chat with her. But it's just very disconcerting to me because I'm so used to being able to have something to back it up and say look, right here's this website. I see exactly where you pulled it from. And I just don't feel like I have anything.
You won't anyway, because we'll say it's most likely, right? That we can't even discipline kids for that because there's no proof. So we were told at the beginning of the school year to add this little note in our course syllabus that if there's suspected plagiarism from ChatGPT or whatever, we should call home, give a 0 on the assignment, but there's no discipline because there's no proof.
It is.
My daughter's in 7th grade. I can't imagine she would ever not
Well,
that she's perfect because she is not, but
No,
I don't even know if
that's-
she'd know how to do that.
Because my thing with 7th graders normally is they don't even cheat well.
Right.
Copying and pasting is not their style. They might find something and then they sit there and retype it. And not that this paper was perfect, but the tech guys are well, there's filters you can put on, so it will spit out middle school level work.
Well, I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can as a middle schooler,
Oh, well, I guess if you were to
Yeah.
word it that way,
Yeah.
you could say, how would a middle schooler answer?
No,
this?
actually I took his job.
Or something like that.
I mean, I didn't take it, but he left JV and I went in. He's a typewriter.
Yeah, I have one that I caught recently. She's a 10th grader, so I've had her for 2 years. And I knew it wasn't her work. It's not her writing style. But she's a good writer. And so I chose to lean into that. And I handed out an essay to be done in class. Now she had gotten the AI to write it for her and then copied, handwritten what the AI wrote, because we're doing a lot more with handwriting than we are online. And I said to her, listen, I want you to write this. She said, well, I always do my work. I said, no. I want you to write this. I said, the last 2 things you turned into me, it wasn't you. And I said, you're too good a writer to cheat like that. And I said, it doesn't matter for my assignments. It absolutely doesn't. I mean, who cares 20 years from now, Mulan the movie versus Mulan the poem,
Right.
you know, the changes in the culture, you know, doesn't matter. I said, but here's what I'm gonna tell you. If you outsource your thinking to a machine, when you need it, you won't have it. And I said, you're too smart to outsource your thinking. And it seemed to have an impact because I took the time to personally talk to her about it. We'll see how that turns out. Her essay was written by her though. I could tell it was her work. I said, I don't care if you use it to brainstorm. If you look at this and you go, I have no idea what I'm like, ask it. Get some help there, that's fine, but make it your own writing. Because that's what it needs to be.
Yeah.
So,
That's why I like the idea of
yeah,
this
I do
saying,
like that
you know,
too.
Yeah, let it guide your outline. If you're
You can
really
be a co-pilot,
completely stuck,
but
you know.
not the pilot. It needs to
Yeah.
be the co-pilot.
So, yeah, I'm a little torn on that, wondering, it seems like you all are okay with that, with the AI generating some
Oh, no.
ideas. So help me to get there because the way I'm
Have you
looking
used
at it.
AI?
No,
Okay,
and I'm looking at it like, but those aren't your ideas. You may do the writing, but I want them to come up with the ideas too and.
I like to see them sit there and
thinking.
brainstorm. I do.
Yeah, so I don't know, am I just like too old school or?
Well, one of the biggest, like, it's kind of scary to me that I see seventh graders especially struggling with is a lack of creativity. Like, they're writing poems right now for me. And I just have like an acrostic poem and the kid wrote his name. And he's like, I can't think of anything that describes me with the letter B. I'm like, this is like just you being creative. And I mean, I do say, like, if you need to, look up words that start with B, you know, like, you know, but yeah, like the creativity is just like, like you give them something creative that you think is going to be fun for them, and it ends up being the opposite. They
Yeah.
they struggle and they don't like
It's
it.
too much work. It's,
Yeah.
and isn't, that's the whole thing. Whereas if you had given that same assignment to seventh graders a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
they would have been all over it, like, yeah, be bold, brave,
Beautiful.
beautiful, exactly right.
Answer to your question, I don't have an answer. I'm big on not having answers tonight.
That's,
I know, it's a good question, I know what you're saying,
yeah,
and I don't.
that's where I struggle, you know, like, I want your ideas, I want to know that you did the thinking.
Mhm.
So brainstorm in class.
Right.
Do it that way. And it's like, let's talk to each other.
you have to come up with 5 ideas before you
Yeah.
pick up a piece of electronics.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can spare
That's
the
true.
time in class to do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, we haven't used our Chromebooks much at all. And they haven't complained because I think their entire lives are on the Chromebook. And I started the year, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. I'm speaking from the English classes. Public speaking, we start on day 1 because they're constantly researching and taking their outlines. And those kids seem to be, their work seems like high school students' work.
Yeah.
And they do it all right there. You know, I walk around, it's mainly in class. I always tell them, if you use your time wisely, the only homework you're going to have is practicing your speech.
That's exactly what I say.
If you work diligently in class, you may practice here. You and a friend can go out in the hall,
Yep.
you're both finished, take the stopwatch and practice here. So if you work hard, you will have no homework.
Yep.
So, but somebody else does that.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
I
I
do
wonder
too.
if I'm giving them too much
Well,
time.
see, this is what my school district did. We were told that there was allowed to be no homework for any class except the tested classes, meaning English, math, science. Those were the only ones. Now, history does not really have anything. They have citizenship tests, that's about it. And they have a practice on that repeatedly. It's the same test. They have a Google form. They go through and they answer these practice tests, and then they take the test. And if they score 75, they've passed. You would not believe how many kids fail this thing because either they've never taken the time to take the practice tests, which are shut off after so long, or they've never paid any attention in civics. I have no idea. But we are not allowed to assign our public speaking classes anything, or CBTV, not allowed to do anything with that.
So you're broadcasting for
It is,
Okay.
yeah. So,
Can you do stuff like as a, I won't say volunteer, but I mean, if you guys want to do this tonight for
yeah.
video
yeah,
tomorrow,
Yeah,
go
we
ahead
can
and
do
it
that. I'd say, if
without
anyone's,
being required.
if anyone's going to homecoming, you can video that for me. That would be great. We can show it then, once we get it edited. Yeah, and the kids do. I have a really good group this year. The one I've been praying for, it's not all seniors and a couple of freshmen and sophomores and juniors. It's mostly sophomores.
Oh, nice.
And I got the pick of the litter.
That's good that you definitely now.
Oh my gosh, and these kids are brilliant. You need to watch some of this stuff. Oh my gosh.
I'd like to.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing what they're doing. And I have one little freshman who I cannot wait to get him into intro to public speaking, but the announcements, he does a really great job with those. We go live every morning. And there's a calendar, they know exactly when they're going. They volunteer for certain days. And it's incredible. It really is pretty cool. So this little freshman is really funny. He happens to belong to one of the biggest families in the area. And he has 4 siblings. One of his siblings is in the class with him. She's a senior, he's a freshman. Then he has a cousin, 2 cousins in the class, all with the last names, all with the same last name. And I actually had them do the pledge. Please rise and recite along with us, the Stiflers, the Pledge of Allegiance. And all 4 of them, and I had them according to age, but I went girl, boy. And it was, I think everyone sat there and they went, oh my gosh, yeah. And they all stood up and they pledged with the Stiflers. It was really funny. So
That's
yeah,
great.
but he's funny. He's such a goof. This kid wants to be the animal for every on this day in history that we do. I'd like to be the bison. All right. I'd like to be the pigeon that saved all these people. Okay, yeah, you can be a pigeon. Oh, green screen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Do you have Adobe? Do you guys use Adobe up there?
We do have Adobe, but we don't do that. We don't use that. So,
Because Adobe's, if you have the suite, they have the new character animator. I wasn't sure if you were aware of that or not, but they'd probably have a blast with that.
yeah.
It's motion capture, it's
Send me some.
lens capture.
Send me some info because we need a new opening.
Oh,
Like
okay.
big time. We've had the same opening for 4 years. I want something new. We do like the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a blue jay sitting on top, CDTV sitting there waiting, and then we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it goes into the whole thing, like the fuzzy screen, then it goes into.
It can be, I assume, anything, pretty much.
We were thinking about maybe doing scenes from The Office, just having people running in and doing goofy things, where I could always have a kid running across the parking lot, trying to get into the school on time,
Right.
kind of like Saved by the Bell, that kind of stuff. These kids are going, Coop, you're weird. So we have our new CBTV shirts, which is one thing the district will buy for us. I did save the district over $500 this year. We went short white sleeve, CBTV written right there in 2 colors. Then we have blue jay sitting on top of the TV. It says CBTV in the TV. And on the back of the shirt, Coop Troop. My maiden name is Coop, but I have it all as one word, Coop Troop. So instead of crew and tech and all that kind of stuff, Coop Troop, one word, in blue. So yeah, the district will buy them for us if we wear them for the announcements. That's what the kids have to do. So I said, keep them in your lockers because if he's absent, then you get to go on. Okay, all right. So,
I just wondered if I could parlay that into an assignment for my students.
Yeah.
To make a new high school introduction for your
Yeah.
program.
That would be great.
That could be fun.
I would love that.
That's why I asked if anything goes, because they might have some pretty bizarre ideas, nothing inappropriate, obviously,
Yeah.
but they might have some kind of bizarre ideas.
Well, you've
but-
seen some of our stuff. These kids, They're funny. They are funny. This group that I have this year, I have 3 gifted kids in the class. And I told them for October 30th, I said, it's the anniversary of War of the Worlds, The War of the Worlds, read by Orson Welles. I said, this is what I would like to do. But I want you to go and I want you to make it happen. So what we did was we had the kids start with, and a couple of the kids were my best intro to public speaking speakers last year as freshmen. I said, I want you to go and I want you to act as if we're doing the announcements and then suddenly we get broken. Their special announcement about a landing from Mars, and they made it happen. It's like, wow, it was cool. It was really cool.
Yeah.
So we have
Interesting.
We don't have like the visual morning announcements, it's just a PA system, but the one day, just last week, when kids were kind of like goofing around, like the micromaking board and acting like they were like weathercasters. And I thought, that might be a really cool idea to just do like a mock, like weather, like make somebody like the sports person and somebody the weather person, or, I don't know if anybody'd ever like done that in their public speaking.
I have, actually, and you got to see that class. That was right before we got shut down for COVID. Yeah. Yep. So my kids that was when CBTV started, was that year. So, yeah.
Did you have them do it like real news stories or just kind of something like?
We actually do announcements and stuff
Okay.
like that. Then we also do on the state history occasionally. And I did have a weather guy, but he got a little bit goofy. That weather guys always get goofy, and it's like, yeah, so. Yeah, we do stuff like that. It's fun. It's fun.
Are you thinking of putting yours out there in some capacity? How would people see it?
No, I just meant like as an assignment for the kids,
Oh,
like
okay.
just it's like, I thought even of like kind of splitting them into 2 groups and saying like, one person will be weather, one's gonna be sports, one,
Yeah.
like 2, and just like even, just create your own material and, like what's going on.
Give me a newscast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even thought about like with Christmas coming up, doing something about like you're at the North Pole or something, just, something. Like, because sometimes if you leave it too open-ended, then they're like, wow, but if you can narrow it for them.
Yeah. That's something in our human existence, I think, that if you, give somebody 10 ramifications of what they have to have, they're fine.
Mhm,
Let's say, yeah, do whatever you want there once.
mhm.
Yeah, we do video morning announcements and I make my public speaking kids do a week. Like they have to take a week. And last year I let them do it like paired up, but this year I said, no, you have to find somebody else because I want you each to do it with just somebody who's not. If you can't, we'll find somebody for you, but and I have one more student yet to go, but it's funny because that first day they all walk in there completely nervous in a way that they never are in front of the classroom. And but I don't know what to do. Just go in, they'll run you through it, they'll show you the teleprompter slides,
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have an 8th grader who runs the behind the scenes like a general.
That's awesome.
I mean, that
Yeah.
he's been doing it since last year and he's like, this is my thing.
And that's exactly what my
Yeah.
person says, who was in class last year that you observed. And that's,
That's
He's like,
awesome.
who's
You need
the
that.
director when our director graduates? I'm like, I don't know, you're gonna be the director, I know. It's a foregone, I can't say that right now, but
That's one of the problems I always have here as a 2-year institution.
yeah, you're
We can have
constantly
an
turnover.
awesome group for like 1 year and then the next year they moved on and things have changed and we have nothing like
it's a growing year. Yep.
Yeah. It's hard. But if any of you ever need assistance with that, that's one thing I do a lot of and that's what my background.
that
Yeah,
in
we
mind.
need to,
I can always offer, I don't know if they'll be good suggestions, but I can always offer suggestions, help. Are all of you aware of what a virtual screen is? A virtual wall actually is the term they use. It's kind of the newest thing in movie production. If you've seen like Mandalorian on the Disney Channel, it's all done that way. But what it is instead of a green screen, it is basically a TV monitor. that is the entire wall, or even like a curvature kind of a thing. Maybe the top, maybe the bottom, depending on how big you are. If you're Disney, you got the whole thing. And that allows you to put whatever image that you want up there. And it's done with like Unreal Engine. It's the same company that puts together video games. So you know how like when you play video games, you run here and you run there, and the background moves around you. So this is connected to a camera. So when the camera moves, you get that same effect. You get that parallax, like things that are further away go slower and things that are closer to you go faster, blah, blah, blah. And when you have like, let's say you have an explosion, rather than doing it in front of a green screen and then setting separate lights up that are supposed to light up your main character so it looks like his face lights up, his face really does light up because there's a big TV set right there with all kinds of explosions on it and everything. And when you show him, you see all that lighting there. So you always see these sets, they always have real reflective things to show that off. So Mandalorian has a silver, very reflective outfit. And then they'll have like water, like ponds or decorative pools or something, because whatever they put there naturally reflects off the water and adds to the really cool illusion. Anyway, that's my next big goal, was to have one of those, and they only cost like $500,000. So it's perfectly reasonable.
Pennies.
But
Pennies.
For your shirts.
there you go. Give up the
I
shirts.
could have our business manager write you a check.
But our IT person just last week said, "Oh, I got something really cool. Come on to the auditorium. I got to show you this." And we have a new projector system. It costs $30,000, which is a fair chunk of change to begin with. And it uses like laser technology to send its image out. And of all things, he said, "Look, I'm going to put on Star Wars." So he put on some clip from YouTube on Star Wars or whatever, and it really did look good and looked amazing. Wow. And we have your typical auditorium, so it's not a virtual wall, but it's pretty big, it's huge. Yeah. And so instantly I started talking with a couple of students of, can we use this as a virtual wall? Can we do something where, like, if we're going to do the Star Wars thing, let's build a set that looks like the inside cockpit of a TIE fighter or something, have a person with the helmet on, and as they're pretending to fly the ship or whatever, the screen is showing us the images of the stars going by. And all that. Yeah, so they're kind of excited about that. So we might attempt to do that and see if that happens. And it's that kind of topic that engages kids more than anything else I can think of. I can say, what do you think about what Disney has done to Star Wars? What's your opinion on that? Boy, do they have opinions. They really do. And other stuff they don't seem to care about. But that's kind of my goal at the moment, is to see if we can turn that into some kind of.
Oh, that would be neat.
It's not truly a virtual wall because it doesn't move with the camera, but it would still be like a more fancy than a green screen and more different than a green screen that you could do different things with. And we do have a switcher and multiple cameras, so we could have a camera on the person, a camera on the screen through the set. We could have this big screen itself on a separate thing, and you could just switch from camera to camera instantly, and to make a little story. And I think that would be fun to pull together.
I like that.
Now, if we do, my next thought is I'd love to invite your students to come and play with it.
Oh, I'd love that.
Because we're trying to get more students here, so if we can have more students visit the college, that would be fun. The other thing I have gotten, and I haven't quite done a lot yet, but just over the summer, our college recently got a, what do they call it? Police crime simulator.
Oh, okay.
And so it is a huge screen. Again, we're talking screens here. And you have somebody back on a computer and they control it. And somebody who is training to be a police officer goes and gets into real life situations. It's just a screen, but there's like a bar fight, and there's a house break-in, and there's actually school shooting, which I won't touch.
Yeah.
But other thing that there's 700 scenarios.
Oh my gosh.
That they have there. And I asked if I could have, can I have these videos? Because I would like to make stories around the videos. Like, here's all these scenes that we could not create ourselves.
Right.
Number one, they have guns and violence, and we're not touching that stuff, so we can't do that. But we have these professionally shot scenes that we can incorporate things around, And it took a year, it took a while for me to get in contact with all the right people and all this kind of stuff. And finally, our representative said, "Oh, you can do whatever you want with it. Sure, you can take it. There's nothing wrong with that. You can have it all." So I immediately went down. I went to like Walmart and got an external hard drive for $90, and I got permission to go in there and I copied their entire thing.
Oh, wow, awesome.
And then I just
Good.
said, "See ya," you know, I snuck away.
Yeah,
But I've got permission to use all those videos, and so what I want to do is a challenge. I've done this the first semester. I've done it. Is I've told students I give them like 10, and I pick one of these 10 and write a story around it.
Oh, neat.
And it's really cool. The first one I did, which is you're like everything's point of view. This is because this is police simulation. So you're like behind the lead officer, and you're following him, and he's got his gun drawn, and he's going around looking at all these rooms. And there's a warehouse or something where there was a shooter, and all this kind of stuff. And this is the one this group picked. And I'm thinking, I wonder what they're going to do with that. I got my own imagination going as to what I would do. I never in a million years would have thought to do what they did, which was a comedy.
Oh.
And it really worked. It was their two voices. All we see is, you know, the scene that's from the point of view. But there's these two officers who were talking to each other, and they're like, "Yeah, this room's clear. This room's clear. So what kind of musicals do you like?" "Well, I get." Yeah, they're like, "What? You know, why are you talking about musical?" And then they're talking a little bit further, and they say, "You know, this is real. This is just a test that they're putting us through." "Oh, I thought this was no, it's not real." Then they get to the end and they go, "Bad guy," and they shoot him, and he falls over, you know, and they're like, "Why did you shoot him?" And he said, "Well, you said this was just a test. I thought my gun was empty." "Gun's not empty. You got a real gun." That is really stupid. That's a second stupid thing you said. The first stupid thing was that you said you like Hamilton or what, you know, and they put all this together into this wonderful little comedy script. I never would have thought of that
yeah.
in a million years. Another one that I think about, and this is a sad one, and maybe this also would make a wonderful comedy. I don't know, but there's a picture of a person who is going to commit suicide. There's an image of a suicide person, and the police officer is trying to talk the person down off the edge of the roof, right? And being like I said, a police simulation, there's like 5 different outcomes. There's an outcome where he jumps. There's an outcome where he tries to jump and you know, he doesn't at the last minute or whatever. There's an outcome when he comes down and just you talk him down, and you know. So there's all these different options, and I thought, wouldn't that make a cool story where it's like somebody thinking what could have been? Like, you know, we see somebody who's distraught or whatever, and
Have you ever watched Clue? The movie Clue?
I've not, no. Is that
Because
what
it's like, well, yeah, there's like 3 endings, and in the theaters they played 3, like, you got one of the endings. But if
Okay.
you watch it on DVD, it's like,
Ooh, there's another one.
that's what could have happened.
Yeah, yeah.
But what really happened was,
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, that's
kind
yeah.
of what these stories
Yeah.
are, because all the stories
Have
have multiple
multiple-
endings.
Oh, that's interesting.
There's one, again, which I probably wouldn't touch, but it's a one with a Muslim woman wearing explosives all over her body.
Okay.
And she comes around the corner and she sees everybody and she goes and grabs for the button to detonate. And there's one scene where she gets shot, she falls over. And there's another scene where like you shoot and you miss her or something and she detonates. And there's a huge explosion and game over. You know, again, that could be a kind of interesting story that you could look at from several different ways.
Yeah, but
You know?
you're right, they are all really.
But they're iffy. But I did have a meeting, you guys tonight met our new vice president, Cindy.
Yeah.
And she's real wonderful. She's wonderful. I told her the whole thing, and we had that discussion. She said, "I think I'm okay with that."
Okay,
She said,
good.
I trust you to not do anything too weird
Uh-huh.
and, you know, whatever, but I think we'll be okay with that. And in my own mind, I always thought for the longest time, here we are, you know, trying to make movies and trying to, you know, explore cinema and things like that. And we can't have anything violent,
Right.
you know, because we're a school, so we can't have it. But now we can,
Mhm.
because we've got the self-protective little piece of video
Yeah.
that somebody else made,
Yes.
and we're just doing something around it.
Mhm.
Anyway, I like sharing that just because if
That's
you guys want to be a part of it, or you want the clips, whatever, let me know, and you're welcome to do whatever you want with it. But again, my thought for a long time has been, I'd love to put something together, either the virtual screen or the police simulator, into something where we can say to high school students, we invite you to come to Penn Highlands, and basically it's like a movie in a day.
Yeah, come and play.
Yeah.
Come and play,
Yep.
couple hours, you'll go home with a movie.
I do that in a heartbeat.
I would
And
love
I
to.
know I'd give
Yeah.
it back. I know it would, so.
Okay, cool. Maybe you'll be my first, because I gotta have an example that I can send to other schools, you know, and you guys can be the example that gets us started, gets the ball rolling on it.
Goofy kids.
I think that would be fun. There's a lot of potential there. But as we were talking about before, sometimes you also don't get the kids engaged. Sometimes the kids don't, you know, they express an interest at first and then they don't show up. So it's always a challenge. But any other material you guys want to talk about? I have one more thing I can give you. And this is really nothing different except our paperwork is different. This is the assessment thing.
Oh.
We have a new person in
Thank
charge
you.
of assessment. We're doing our middle states assessment program now. We gotta have a couple of years to get ready for that. So we have to prove to them that we do a great job with assessment and everything. So this is what you guys will get in the mail. You don't have to keep this one. I just give it to you so you can see what it looks like. And all you have to do is identify your school district, your name, and then the date of assessment, number of students, A students, yeah, not everybody, right? But you got 3 A students or 10 students, whatever it might be. And we're looking for how many students met the target level, how many students did not meet the target level. And our assessment hasn't changed for a long time because I don't know how else to assess a public speaking course, basically, but I have students who will research, prepare, and deliver 3 types of speeches, inform, persuade, and entertain. And that's it. So when I do mine for my classes, I usually have like a little rubric with 9 spots in it, you know, because there's 3 steps to each speech and there's 3 speeches. And I just go down and check off how they have done that. And it's kind of what we ask you guys to do as well. And then you just send this back to me and I attach it to our assessment material that goes into the file for our middle states.
Do you want, I think in the past we've sent outlines and 8 outlines.
Right.
Outline.
Thank you for saying that.
Sorry, I made
You're right. I'm glad you
more
thought
work
that.
for everyone, but do you want that again? Do you-
No,
Okay.
we are setting you free from
Oh,
this. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we used to they used to want A work and C work and F work. So we could say, oh yeah, this person did really good. They got an A, this person's okay, got a C, this person just failed. And we'd have 3 categories of, if you could, sometimes you'd actually have a good class and nobody fails, you know, but with this new thing, you don't have that. All you have is this piece of paper. Yeah, we are just
Is that
taking,
across the line for everything or just you?
no, that's for everything, for every ACE
Yeah.
program, so it's,
Alright.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you'll get this exact same piece of paper for every ACE
All right.
discipline that you're part of. The only thing that's different is course name and number varies, you know, with the other course, but that's what we're doing now. And like I said, that's in part because we got a new person and they shake things up and want to do things differently and you know, kind of want to be a little bit more organized than we were in the past maybe. And our target level is the same as it was before, which is just the round number of 70%.
So under the additional feedback section, number 1, how was the measure implemented in your class? Would an appropriate answer for that question be something like students delivered this type of speech, the requirement was this many minutes, it was graded on a rubric to grade, is that?
All of
how
that is
question
fine.
should be answered?
Yeah, and you know, in the sense that we've already set up here, it's gonna be an information, a persuasion,
Right,
and an entertainment. The only thing you could tell us that maybe isn't clear is what was your entertainment? And it's not that important, but
just in case.
you could write down, well, our entertainment was, it could be the self-introduction speech. It could be a commemoration speech. It could be, like I said, I do a favorite song, which I've had a lot of success with. That kind of surprised me, the amount of interest in favorite song. Or whatever you want to do. Comedy.
Yeah.
We've all done comedy speeches, I think, which is fun.
This year in a purely self-serving capacity, because I suddenly found myself a matron of honor and I will be having to give a toast
Oh,
at a wedding. I I have a resource that talks about the different kinds of like speaking in a personal capacity. So it has like toast at a wedding, giving an award, introducing a speaker for the evening, a tribute speech, a eulogy. So I split those out. I just did this today. We talked all about story, the importance of story in speeches. And then I split them out into groups and I said, all right, this is an informative and a demonstrative speech. You're gonna inform me about the type of speech. So one group's doing toasts, one person's doing eulogy, group's doing eulogies, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then I said, once you've informed us about that, 2 of you and your team are going to demonstrate that type of speech to us. So that was the kind of splitting across a bunch of different entertainment speeches. So
That's interesting.
yeah, we'll see how that goes. If it goes well, I'll let you know. If it doesn't, I'll just let it die nakedly. But
But you might get great ideas.
I might, because I
For your
really need them
speech.
for, yes, it's the, isn't it the trope, like the public speaking teacher does not really want to give the speech.
Well, sometimes students ask me that, you know, oh, you must love public speaking, right? And I said, no, nobody loves public speaking. There's something wrong with you if you love public speaking.
Yes, you're a
but-
politician.
But we, yeah, exactly. But we do it. And it's like anything else. I really don't like math, but I do math.
Right,
You know?
right.
Other courses I don't like, but I do. And I always tell students, let it work in your mind in that same category, in the sense of, well, I don't like math, but I'm gonna go to math class and I'm gonna do math. You know, and I don't like public speaking, but I'm gonna go to public speaking, I'm gonna do public speaking, and that's it. It doesn't need to go further than that.
Right.
You just go it, you're challenged, you do it, you walk away. And of course, it is different. Nobody, you know, well, some people do, but not too many people are you know, have a lot of anxiety over a English test, maybe, I don't know. There's certain testing anxiety, of course, but we all know public speaking is a different beast. And it's a whole different, like it's a different part of your brain. So you get up there and all those people are looking at you, you get a different kind of nervous, and, you know, we get that, but in a way, it's just another class.
Did I tell you that my team won the Heritage Conference?
No, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. My little team I had 7 people last year, only 4 could speak. So I had a freshman, I had a sophomore, junior, and senior. The junior had the highest score across the board.
Wow.
And that person was actually in my public speaking class this past year. And then the senior, who ended up being valedictorian, had the second highest score. She was just 2 points off. Then a sophomore that I had in the class, public speaking class that you had seen, had the third score, and she was just 1 point below the senior. And then the freshman I had, who I saw the talent in intro to public speaking, and I said, would you be a part of this team? It's the first year we ever competed in the Heritage Conference.
Wow.
We got first place. Like we blew everyone out of the water.
Is that a
We-
Cambria County
Yeah,
event?
yeah,
Okay.
like everyone. They were gone. And I'm sitting there watching. We were the second in school to speak. First school we didn't get to see, but I go in there, I'm waiting for the kids, and I had lined them up to be, you'll be in this order, like this. So we started with the junior because that person was an incredibly strong speaker. So that person went first. And then we had the freshman go. And then we had the senior, and then we ended with the sophomore. Now, the junior and the sophomore were both forensic speakers, like big time. They had gone to nationals, et cetera, et cetera. Those were my people to really, really, like the really good crispy cookie part, right? And then the fluff in the middle. And oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I'm sitting there watching this, and then we were listening to other teams, impromptu speeches, that's what they were. And we won. There's a plaque on the wall.
That's awesome.
First year ever in the Heritage
that-
Conference.
Last February? When
It
did
was
they
in
hold?
March, it was March
March.
16th. That was the date that they competed. It was awesome. Yeah. I
Very
saw you
exciting.
in February, I
Okay.
think.
I just missed
It's fun.
it. So you're gonna compete this year?
We are. I picked new freshmen. So I have one who's a natural, and her older sister was a very, very good forensic speaker. They call it speech and debate now, but she was incredible. She had gone to nationals quite a few times. And her sister is like a chip off the old block. She's
Yeah.
really, really good. I already put her in. She'll be my main speaker. So I need one in each grade. That's the only category in the Heritage Conference that needs a speaker from each grade. So it works. Then I have my alternates, but I chose strong speakers for the alternate jobs. Yeah, pretty cool. They're
Very cool. Wow.
neat.
It's
Very,
funny,
very
Jess and I, we compete against each other actually in the Central PA Speech League, which is just Tyrone, Juniata Valley and Williamsburg. And there have been years where I'm like, oh, please tell me that's the last of that family, because it's like the last name and they're so good, like you said, chip off the old block.
Yep.
You know, and I'm sure that at some point somebody is waiting for the Summers family to graduate entirely from my classes, because everyone that has done speech has been really, really good. So.
We had the Rotary reach out to us about, where's it, Leah that does that.
The four-way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so they had reached out to me last year, but it was too like last minute, but I thought that would at least like maybe be something different. I don't know if anybody's.
I've done it for the past
feedback.
like 8 years or so,
It's
the
worth
Altoona
doing.
Rotary. Oh my gosh, yes, it's amazing.
Okay.
So you can take up to 6 students. I'm pretty sure it's, I never had more than that, but I think it was always, I thought, up to 6. And the top 3 places are awarded cash prizes that day. And I don't know if, I'm pretty sure all Rotaries are the same, because I do the Altoona Rotary. My daughter, who is not in the Altoona School District, has done the Altoona Sunrise Rotary, which is a whole different club. Anyway, first place gets $100 cash. And when my daughter did it, she placed, so I knew the amounts were the same. $100 cash, then 50, and then 25. So the top 3 kids walk away with money that day. It's not a scholarship, it's not a check, it's cash. And it's such a supportive environment, because all of the Rotarians are astounded by these young people getting up there and talking about something, sometimes controversial, because it needs to be an issue that affects like your community, or it could be something as common as bullying, or it could be something like removal of controversial statutes or something like that, something that affects us. And like my daughter did something about feminism or something, but another girl did, well, that I took, she did, her topic was how some like documentaries that focus on serial killers or like Dateline stuff, how they may not take into consideration how the victim's family feels about seeing these, especially like the ones that are dramatized. So they're not documentaries, but they're like the Dahmer one that was popular last year. She kind of ran with that, like, maybe this is not an ethical issue, or maybe it is an ethical issue. Maybe it's unethical that we're like really drawn in.
Getting entertainment off of that.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
What about the family members who have to relive this? Were they even interviewed? Were they even asked how they felt about this? That their likeness or their family's likeness is being portrayed here. So, and the topic, there's the whole gamut of topics, but I've taken kids every year except 2021. We got right in 2020, it was like February. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
And then the next 2021, they did it, but it was virtual and I didn't participate. So I just thought I don't want to hear the word virtual anymore right now. Teaching virtually, everything was virtual. I thought, no, we're just not doing it. But besides that year, I think I've done it since 2014, 2015, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Definitely do it. I strongly recommend. It's great for the kids, great experience, and they just get so much positive feedback from the Rotarians. They're like, oh, you guys were amazing, and keep at it, don't quit, keep they'll have them go up at the end and introduce themselves and say where they're going to college or what they plan on studying or what they like to do in their free time. So there's impromptu there too.
Yeah, there
And I'll
you
tell
go.
the kids, I'm like, they're probably gonna call you up. But I always say, here's where your impromptu skills are coming into play. But yeah, if you can, it's a great, I recommend it. It's a great opportunity.
I was planning on it. The one lady from our local Rotary was gonna come actually talk to the kids and like. explain
Yeah,
it a
I've
little
had
bit
them
more.
offer to do it too.
Yeah.
Now that I know it
Right.
well, we had a lady come and, I wish she's a friend of mine now, but she was so boring. And the kids were like getting nothing out of it. So the next year, she said, do you want me to come back? I'm like, oh, I got this. And that way I have created a slide deck, like I take a picture every year of the winners, like I show them, and sometimes they know, like a girl I had this year, her brother was like 3rd place the one year, so it's kind of neat them seeing kids that they might know, but I do my own little presentation now that I know how it goes and I've been there enough, but yeah, if it's your first time, definitely have them come and then maybe you can handle it the next year.
Yeah.
So I know my students are just like, why'd you do this?
I was trying to use that as like a learning, like, let's critique the public speaking.
I would say, yeah, there are colleges that come in, I'm not talking Penn Highlands, but there are people that come in to do the presentations to the juniors and seniors, and these kids, many of the juniors had me for intro, some of the juniors have me for public speaking right now, CBTV kids in there, and I say, you tell me what the speaker did right and what the speaker did wrong.
You never get teachers because they're not engaging.
Exactly
They're
right,
used to
exactly
talking
right.
with adults who are going to listen.
So they
They're
get,
not teachers who tell us how to do our jobs.
right. So they come back to the class and they say, well, first of all, what was with that PowerPoint? I mean, there were complete sentences on the PowerPoint. I say, why is that wrong? Okay, because then she read off the PowerPoint. That's exactly right. What do we do with PowerPoint? Bullet points. That's right. How many? 5 per slide. Okay, good.
5 rule.
Yep. Any complete sentences? No, never complete sentences. Okay, fine. The only time I like to write fragments, that and outlines, that's it. Yep. Good, sweet. I'm thinking, amen, they listened.
Like, for me, that's when they wanna write sentences. I can't get them to write them, but if
Yeah,
they
really.
don't do it, they're like, what?
It's like, what's this on this slide? It's like, oh, yep. Mm. Crazy.
Anything else we need to discuss or cover? To anyone's idea?
I will tell you, I'm still using the art of public speaking. My school district
Lucas
is,
book.
yeah, my school district is not buying any, kind of a nature bet.
Beginning of the fall, we're using a textbook, which is OER.
Okay,
And we have it in existence in a digital form.
okay,
So you can use that, they can print it out themselves,
Yeah.
they can use it or whatever, but
but I will
we're
let you know
trying to
that
switch.
I want your book and I told them I want your book, but
I understand.
I'll get it when I can get it.
I had great fun writing that and putting that together, but honestly, if we can find something really good, which I think we did, which is free.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
like
yeah.
that better.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna retire mine and go with the free book. But again, you guys are welcome to use whatever you've got. Most of the high schools we deal with already have public speaking books.
yeah.
And I've always been of the opinion, I don't know about you guys, but of all the different topics you could explore, public speaking is the one which is most basic, and it's like, it's like I've never really had a bad public speaking.
Yeah.
They kind of all say the same thing.
Yeah, they
Many
kind of do.
timeless too.
Yeah.
The ones that
Or
we
subtle,
Had
Yeah.
at Altoona, I mean, they're embarrassingly old. So I have one copy. I would never give it to my students because it would be so embarrassing to give them something from the 80s, and that's what it is.
Right.
But I retained a copy. The rest got trashed when we had our whole new building project a couple years ago. But I tailored my lessons around the art of public speaking. Never purchased. I have my teacher's manual and then the workbook. And I think a friend of mine who used to teach public speaking at Penn State gave me one of her books. So I don't think it changes.
Right,
Honestly, it's
exactly.
giving speeches is so much more fun than reading about
Yeah,
speeches. Like,
exactly.
it's kind
Yeah.
of really dry material unless you're interested in it like we
Right.
are.
Yeah.
But yeah, my students don't have textbook. And I've made photocopies of things and, of speeches, transcripts, and we can follow along when we watch the videos, but,
If you guys want, I can send you that OER thing
Yes.
If you will.
please.
now.
great,
You have
yeah.
to wait till
Yeah, that'd be
later
great.
to see it, but
I'd be happy
I
to
did
do
have
that.
a student this year, we're getting ready to do like our Thanksgiving speech where they get to pick their favorite food and they bring it in and we all eat, And so the one boy chose eggs. And, cause it doesn't have to be a Thanksgiving food, but I just say, like, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, bring it in, we'll share, party food, they love it. But he picked eggs. I think because he knows I hate eggs, like. So he's just been like the whole time he's writing the speech, like he's reading stuff out loud, I'm being dramatic and and he said, you're not being very ethical. He said, you're prejudging me in my speech. And because we just got done like with that chapter in the book and he's like, you're prejudging me and you're not really listening and you're gonna shut down and not hear what I have to say. I was like, that's a fair point. It's a fair point.
So the other hand, he doesn't appear to know his audience.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
That's what
Yeah.
I told him.
Yeah, you can, yep.
I'm gonna come back and tell him that he's presenting tomorrow, so, yeah.
before you start, tell me what you know about your audience here, the issue of eggs.
You're gonna try to talk me into eggs, you better bring your A game because.
Yeah.
In my script writing class, just to be dumb, I had one of the writing assignments was you are the world's most intelligent super turkey, and you understand, you can write in English and you can peck with your beak. Or write something about why Americans should not eat turkey on Thanksgiving. It's a dumb thing, it's certainly not original, but I was really impressed with the responses. We got really fun, people writing stuff about why we should not have Thanksgiving in the guise of turkeys. And like I said, even when I saw the assignment, I thought, this is old. This reminds me of something I would have done in middle school, And yet when I gave it to them, we had more fun with that than anything in recent weeks, I think was the response we had with that one. So that was fun. In that particular class, I do, 3 or 4 story starters where you do something like that and you give them a couple sentences and say, now write the rest. And it's just always fun to see where it goes, because you got like 10 students or 20 students and it goes in every imaginable direction. That's pretty fun. What did you guys get? I saw everybody came walking out with a
There's a mug,
Yeah, a mug,
Cool mug in
a
there.
magnetic clip.
and a flashlight.
Yep.
And then the-
your batteries with the flashlight too.
Oh.
They didn't leave us high and dry.
That's right, there are batteries in here.
The last one was like really nice, like marker, like fine tip marker.
Green.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I
Oh,
lost
I want
mine.
more of
I was
those.
hoping to get
That
one.
was so nice, yeah.
I really like
We're
those.
talking how many years ago? We're talking since 2019.
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
Is that when it was? How do you
Yes.
remember that's when it was?
Well, 2020 was the
Yep.
I
pandemic.
just don't remember getting.
It's always in November.
We've been at this for a while, but.
Everything revolves around the pandemic.
Yes.
It does, it does, oh my
does.
gosh.
Yes, it does, before and after, yeah.
We'll have to come up sometime when the bookstore's open and see if they.
We're desperate for green.
Oh, yeah, man,
Haley.
I love mine
One
forever.
is a green felted pen.
My wife thought I was crazy, but I told her after the maybe toward the end of the pandemic or so, I used to dream crowds. I had all these dreams where I was just like, like when you're at a community festival or something, there's just people everywhere and everybody's kind of happy and somebody's eating food over here and there's a band playing over here and just walking around and it's warm and it's summertime or whatever. I had so many dreams like that, and I used to think, why am I dreaming about crowds? And then I thought, it must be the pandemic. It must be that I like that more than I think I do.
Yeah.
I do like it, but I didn't know it was that important to me.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I'm having a dream of like,
I really want to be in a crowd like that.
festivals. Yeah, I want to be at a festival where everybody's running around and there's a car show and there's, this going on over here and the museum's open and it's Heritage Days. or something like that. And, you know, I like to eat the festival food, you know, the candied apples and stuff like that. And I thought that must have been it. That must be the only reason why I did. But yeah, it's
sounds
just,
about right.
and it wasn't like a recurring dream. It was just a different, you know, different dream every night. But it always was like in the context of a
Right.
community festival. It was really weird. And I thought that's gotta be the pandemic. That's because I'm sitting in our guest bedroom, staring at the computer screen, teaching my classes. You know.
In solitude.
In solitude, yeah, trying to engage students, half of which are not seen on the screen.
Right.
And I really don't know if they're there. I don't know if they're there when we're in class, but you're looking at a screen and it's just
No
a name.
responses back, right,
it's just a
just a
name.
name. No interaction.
You could be teaching the whole
Oh, I know,
public
I know.
speaking thing to a chihuahua, you don't know,
Yeah.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yep.
Shih Tzu sitting right there on the bed going. You know, I'm a cat
And we got a lot of
person, so-
ceiling fans. I don't know what you all got, but I saw a ton of ceiling fans.
So did I, yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of ceiling fans.
Yeah.
In a weird way, the coolest part was seeing what everybody's house looks like.
That's
Yes.
exactly right.
Because, and I'm not really a design person or anything like that, but still, it's like, oh, I like what you, that's a really pretty shelf in the background there. I like how you guys have your.
At the
room
same
here.
time, strange for us to have our students seeing
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
homes,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I didn't really like that.
We're the ones that students would say, you are at the grocery store? You actually come to the grocery
Yes,
store and buy
yeah.
food? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
You don't go to like a teacher's
Don't
grocery
live
store
at
somewhere?
school.
No, I go to Giant Eagle.
And then when I finally got COVID, it was like when everybody had it, so our school shut down, we were virtual. The one day I taught from bed, I was like, I'm not taking a sick day, like
Yeah,
for
no way,
virtual.
yeah, right.
And so I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, in bed teaching these kids, you know, like you said, there's like maybe 2 kids that are actually, you know, there.
Crazy.
The only positive thing about that I always like to bring out is the idea that I heard somebody say this once, that, you know, if they had come to us and they'd come to the district, you know, well before pandemic and said, how long will it take for you to go virtual? If you were to go virtual and all your classes were to go virtual, how long would it take? And we go, maybe a 2-year time frame, maybe if we really rushed it, maybe a year and a half, whatever. And then when it came down to it, it was, we're starting Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monday, we're all
We all
gonna be
had to
virtual.
learn very quickly how to do it.
But we did it. That's
We
what,
did
that's
it,
the thing
we did
that's
it, learning
fun
curves and all.
to think about now that it's over. It's fun to look at it and go, and we turned around that fast. That's how fast human
Yeah.
beings can adapt
Yeah.
and change. That we said, Monday, we're doing it, whether good or bad or whatever, but we were all virtual on Monday. And that's really bizarre, but it just kind of gives me hope that, you know, society will be able to change in other major ways quickly too, when necessary. So, that's a positive thought to end on. Can we,
That is
can
a
we
good
end
positive.
there?
Yes.
Yeah, we can, that's
Dang,
awesome.
that was good.
That's awesome, great.
I know.